Hello, Tom here for Red Duke Games. This is going to be our side dish recipe from the NECRONOMNOMNOM. And today we are working on the unknown squash, a roasted spaghetti squash recipe. So first off, we have our ingredients. We have our spaghetti squash. We have our extra virgin olive oil. 1 clove of garlic, you can see that down there. We have our 1/4 cup of fresh basil leaves and salt and pepper. We have some brown sugar, 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, which is back there, 2 whole tomatoes, and mozzarella cheese. On to the baking. Okay, here we have the spaghetti squash that have been halved, and now we're about to put it in the oven at 375 for about 50 minutes. And first we're going to season it with some salt and pepper. Here we have some salt. See that happening? Whatever. Hey, all this. There we go. Good, 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 good. Some pepper. This is all going to be dependent upon how you like it. And if you have ever carved a pumpkin, that's kind of the same feeling I had trying to get the guts out of the spaghetti squash. Here we have the spaghetti squash in the pan, and I'm going to pour over roughly a cup of water to fill the bottom of the pan. And we're going to put these bad boys in the oven. In the meantime, I've finally chopped up some of the garlic, and I'm now working on the basil. So I'm going to finally chop that up, and that should be a 1/4 cup, I think. So I only need a 1/4 cup. So I'm going to measure that out, and we are ready and waiting for our squash to be done. Okay, the spaghetti squash is done cooking. So we're going to take it out of the oven. Always be prepared. Might as well leave those on, and I'm going to transfer these. Ooh, really hot. So we're going to take 2 tablespoons or more. I like a little bit of extra brown sugar on mine, but I'm going to also put some brown sugar in these and let them sit for a few minutes so they can cool down a little bit. Here we have the squash with our brown sugar, about a tablespoon in each one, and we're letting that cool down so that way we can use our fork. Grab a fork here, and you can see how easy that comes off. And you can see those noodles kind of forming. Okay, I'm gonna fork the squash. Basically, take these innards of the squash out of the skin. And it's very hot still, but it's okay. It's coming out of the skin pretty easily. And it smells awesome. used a pretty large squash here, so we're going to get a good amount. Normally this dish serves 4. We might be able to get 5 out of it if we grabbed another tomato. Hot. That's a good amount of spaghetti squash noodles. We're going to let that sit for a minute. Because of the spaghetti squash size, it was pretty big, so I'm taking a little bit of the spaghetti squash and leaving that for another serving somewhere else. That's about a little over a cup, about a cup and a half of the squash. Now we're going to start adding the rest of our ingredients, including the olive oil, garlic, basil, good amount of salt and pepper, and Parmesan cheese. And we're basically going to coat the noodles evenly. All right, we'll see how that looks. Okay, we have our mixture of our olive oil, Parmesan cheese, spaghetti squash noodles, and basil, fresh basil. And we're going to divvy out these onto the greased baking pan and see how it goes. No one ever said I was good at filming. How about this? Let me do this and I will add the tomatoes and we'll get an idea of what this is going to look like before we add the cheese on top. Okay, here we have the tomatoes added, and as you can see, they are sitting in the the noodles, and we are going to be adding mozzarella cheese. The tomatoes are cut 2 different ways, from the side and through the middle, or up and down and from the side. And this is going to be based off the aesthetic that you're trying to get from your side dish. Okay, here we've added the mozzarella cheese. We're going to pop this back in the oven for roughly, 25 to 30 minutes, basically until the cheese is bubbly and starting to brown. And then, bon appetit. That's French for let's eat. Okay, here we are taking the spaghetti squash out of the oven. Wow. Okay. So here we have the final products out of the oven, looking, oh my goodness, delicious. And I wish you could smell it. It is awesome.